What if humanity isn't just a species on the brink of extinction? What if we are so unpredictable, so dangerous, that an entire galaxy has been watching us for millennia? The truth behind the sudden appearance of a massive alien vessel above Earth will shake everything you thought you knew. They've come back. After 30,000 years, they've returned, and what they've left behind could change the future of humanity forever. Stay with us as we uncover the most terrifying revelation of all, the truth about humanity's past and its future. You won't believe the shocking twist that awaits at the end of this video. The secrets of our past, hidden for thousands of years, are about to be revealed. Keep watching until the end, because this discovery will reshape everything you thought you knew about our history and our place in the universe. This is HFY Sci-Fi Love and War Story, where we dive into the most incredible, thought-provoking sci-fi stories, unveiling secrets of alien encounters, galactic wars, and humanity's incredible potential. If you're fascinated by what you've heard so far, make sure to hit the subscribe button and join us for more epic adventures. The night at the Orespo Observatory's successor facility in Puerto Rico was eerily calm, a silence broken only by the occasional hum of the cooling fans and the distant calls of tropical wildlife. Dr. Ilana Chen sat at her workstation, the soft glow of her monitor illuminating her focused face. It was 3:17 a.m., a time that seemed both normal and strangely out of place. Her eyes, already tired from hours of research, flicked across the array of data streaming in. At first, the signal appeared as a mere anomaly, an odd spike that flickered on her screen. She sighed, tapping a few commands into the console, thinking it was just another glitch in the outdated equipment. However, the signal didn't fade away like the others. It remained, persistent and structured. A sequence of prime numbers, a clear sign of artificial intelligence, repeated in perfect, metronomic precision. It was unlike any natural phenomenon she had ever observed. Her fingers paused, hovering over the keyboard. Prime numbers were not just random. They were a deliberate, mathematical code. A form of communication. Her heart began to quicken. This wasn't just static. This wasn't noise. This was intentional. Her mind raced as she ran multiple diagnostics, checking for any faults in the system, but the results were the same. No malfunction. No misalignment. Her hand trembled slightly as she reached for her phone, dialing the Arkiba protocol, the secretive, high-priority program that had been in place for years, though she had never expected to use it. Her voice was shaky as she spoke. "This is Dr. Chen at Orespo. Activate protocol first contact. This is not a drill." The second stretched into what felt like an eternity. Her call was met with quick, efficient responses, standard procedure. But even as the protocol was initiated, the weight of what was unfolding pressed down on her. This wasn't just a scientific breakthrough, it was the start of something far greater. Within hours, observatories across the globe confirmed her discovery. The signal wasn't just an anomaly. It was artificial and it was directed at Earth. Something was approaching from deep space, and it was sending a clear message. As the data continued to flow, it became clear the object was slowing down. Her pulse quickened as it became evident the object wasn't just drifting, it was under intelligent control. 3 days later, the object, an enormous sleek vessel, visible even to Earth's telescopes, settled into geocentric orbit over the Pacific Ocean, its movements deliberate and controlled. The signal it emitted shifted, and this time, the message it broadcasted was clear and chilling: "We have returned. Request diplomatic channel." A wave of shock spread like wildfire across the world. This wasn't just the stuff of science fiction, it was happening. Something alien, something ancient, was coming to Earth after millennia of silence. The vessel was massive, its shape smooth and geometric, unlike anything humanity had ever seen. The world's governments were in disarray as the implications of the event set in. An emergency United Nations session was convened to discuss the appropriate response. The room was packed with diplomats, generals, scientists, and experts, each one representing a nation, each one filled with their own thoughts on how to handle the situation. General Ramirez of the United Global Defense Command was one of the first to speak, his voice firm and commanding. We need to prepare for a military response. This object may be a threat. We can't afford to take any chances. Our defense assets need to be positioned. We need to show strength. But across the table, Dr. Anastasia Vulov, a scientist and expert on extraterrestrial biology from Russia, countered, her voice calm but resolute. We cannot rush into this without understanding who they are. We must first establish communication and understand their intentions. This isn't about weapons, it's about knowledge. We have a unique opportunity to learn from them. The debate raged on, but in the center of the room, sitting quietly but with a heavy heart, was Dr. Ilana Chen. Having first discovered the signal, she had been thrust into a role that she had never wanted, a diplomatic intermediary between Earth and these mysterious visitors. As she sat listening to the arguments, her mind was racing. The very message that had sent shockwaves across the globe was simple yet profound: we have returned. It didn't just say that they had come back. It suggested they had been here before. Ilana's thoughts turned inward. Had humans encountered these beings before? What had happened during their last visit to Earth? Was the history of human evolution shaped by this ancient encounter? Just as the debate intensified, the first video transmission arrived. The screen flickered to life, revealing an alien being. Its features were humanoid, but there were distinct differences. The skin had a faint blue luminescence, and its eyes were large, set wide apart. Its hands, long and elegant, had 6 fingers. The being spoke with perfect synchronization, its mouth movements matching perfectly with the Earth languages it spoke, as though it was using advanced translation technology. The voice was soft but confident. I am Ambassador Zara of the Lishian Collective. We come in peace to recover what our ancestors left behind. The room went silent. We established an outpost on your world approximately 30 millennia ago during an exploratory mission. Contact was lost, and we have returned to recover our technology and any surviving records. The revelation sent shockwaves through the gathered diplomats. The room was filled with questions. Who were these Lishians? Why had they left technology on Earth? How did they know about Earth's civilizations? And most importantly, what did they want from humanity now? Dr. Ilana Chen felt the weight of the moment. She had barely processed the fact that the Lishians were not just extraterrestrials, but that they had been here before. They had left something behind. The future of humanity, perhaps its very origins, was tangled with the past of these ancient beings. As the transmission ended, the world seemed to hold its breath. What came next would determine not only the fate of humanity but whether Earth was prepared to embrace the unknown or defend itself against it. The day arrived, and the entire world held its breath as humanity prepared for its first official contact with the Lishians. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, tension, and awe. The floating facility near Hawaii had been hastily constructed in international waters, a marvel of modern engineering. Its purpose was simple, yet profound, a neutral ground for the meeting of 2 species from different corners of the universe. It was a place where both Earth and the Lishians could observe one another, where they could communicate in a space untainted by territorial disputes or politics. The facility itself was breathtaking. Transparent domes rose from the water like something out of a futuristic dream, their sleek structures gleaming in the sunlight. Inside, a large chamber had been carefully prepared, with advanced technologies designed to support the unique needs of both humans and Lishians. The entire space was illuminated by soft, ambient lights, giving the room an ethereal, almost otherworldly glow. The air was filled with the faint sound of soft hums from the energy shields that protected the facility, keeping it stable and secure amid the rolling waves. As Dr. Ilana Chen and the human delegation made their way into the facility, they were greeted by an array of Lishians, standing tall and imposing in their elegant attire. Their appearance was striking and alien, humanoid but vastly different from anything humans had seen before. Their skin, a pale yet vibrant shade of blue, emitted a faint, soft glow, like bioluminescent creatures of the deep ocean. Their faces were oval-shaped, with large, luminous eyes that were set wider apart than those of humans. These eyes shimmered with an intensity that seemed to see through the very souls of the humans before them. Their hands, long and graceful, had 6 fingers, each digit sleek and elongated. It was a stark contrast to the human form, yet there was an undeniable calmness to their presence, an air of wisdom and age that radiated from them. The humans, taken aback by their sheer size and grace, couldn't help but feel small and almost insignificant in the face of such beings. But there was no malice in their eyes, only curiosity and a deep sense of peace. Ambassador Zara, the leader of the delegation, stepped forward. Her tall figure, almost 7 feet in height, cast a long shadow in the soft light. As her voice echoed in the chamber, it carried with it a sense of ancient knowledge, as if she had spoken across countless millennia. "We come in peace," she said, her voice soft yet commanding. "We are the Lishians. We have returned to Earth after 30,000 years." The humans were struck by the gravity of her words, but the most unsettling part was yet to come. "We were here before," Ambassador Zara continued. "Long ago, our people established an outpost on your world. We observed your development, your early stages of growth. But then, contact was lost. A solar flare disrupted our communications, and we were unable to reconnect with your species. For 30 millennia, we have been searching, rebuilding our technologies, and now, we are here to recover what we left behind." Dr. Ilana Chen, who had been both the first to detect the signal and now, unwittingly, the first diplomat for humanity, couldn't contain her curiosity. "Why Earth?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly but filled with purpose. Ambassador Zara's gaze deepened, as if her thoughts stretched back through the corridors of time. "Earth was selected for its biodiversity, your ecosystems, your variety of life. We saw early humans as a potential to unlock greater understanding, but more importantly, we saw the beginning of something truly remarkable. Your species showed early signs of advanced cognitive development, more so than any other planet in this sector." The Lishians paused for a moment, as if reflecting on the past. "Our research team was stationed here to monitor Earth's ecosystems and the development of intelligent species. It was not our intention to interfere directly with your evolution. Our protocols forbade us from doing so, for we know that every species must evolve on its own terms. But when we observed your early humans, we saw potential. Great potential." The room was quiet as Dr. Ilana processed this information. The very fact that the Lishians had observed humans for so long, had watched them evolve, was both humbling and unsettling. How much had humanity's early development been influenced by these unseen visitors? The thought was too grand to fully comprehend. Ambassador Zara continued, unveiling a more detailed account of the Lishians' mission. "The outpost we established lies buried near the Nile Valley, in what you now call Sudan. We chose that location due to its proximity to several primate species, including early humans. Our records show that the outpost was active for several centuries, until the catastrophic solar flare. After that, we lost contact, and our people had to abandon the mission. But we did not forget you. We've been searching for your world ever since, hoping to recover the technology we left behind." The words seemed to hang in the air. Lishian technology, hidden on Earth for thousands of years, was now ready to be reclaimed. The humans, their minds racing, exchanged nervous glances. What kind of technology could the Lishians have left behind? Was it something dangerous, or was it the key to unlocking the secrets of the universe? Dr. Ilana asked the next question that was on everyone's mind. "What happened to your people? Why didn't you return sooner?" Ambassador Zara's expression darkened slightly. "After the loss of the outpost, our civilization fell into a period of great turmoil. A disruption in our central systems led to the collapse of several key colonies. Only in recent centuries have we rebuilt our deep space capabilities and resumed our search for lost outposts." The sun hung low in the sky as the rescue team made their way through the northern Sudan desert, the vast, dry expanse seemingly stretching into infinity. The air shimmered with heat, and the ground cracked underfoot, yet there was something undeniably unnatural about the terrain they were crossing. As the Oasis team, led by Dr. Ilana Chen, neared the coordinates, an uneasy tension settled over them. The sand was more than just sand, it felt like it had been waiting for something long forgotten. When they finally arrived at the site, the view before them was breathtaking and utterly unexpected. There, half buried in the sand, was an ancient structure, its sleek, curved surfaces undisturbed by the millennia of erosion. Gleaming metallic alloys reflected the harsh desert sun, but they did not have the appearance of any material from Earth. The team had uncovered what seemed to be the remnants of an alien outpost, unlike anything they had ever seen before. As Dr. Ilana's boots crunched softly on the sandy ground, her gaze scanned the technology around the outpost. Holographic systems pulsed faintly in the air, creating vibrant, shifting 3D projections of distant landscapes. The light seemed to flow through them like water, fluid and alive. The self-repairing materials that made up the walls shimmered, as if responding to the presence of the humans. Everything about this place seemed to breathe with an invisible life force. The team, awestruck and shaken, could barely fathom the sight before them. How could something this advanced exist, buried in the desert for thousands of years? There were no signs of life, yet everything felt strangely alive. It was as though the technology itself had a pulse, reacting to their presence. The air was thick with an energy they could not explain, quantum fluctuations, perhaps. But there was no time for these thoughts. They had a mission to complete. As they carefully started their excavation, something unexpected began to happen. The artifacts, small devices, and hidden compartments began to activate. Glimmers of light appeared from within their cores, and faint energy signatures started to pulse in the sand beneath their feet. Quantum resonance patterns began to emerge in the environment. The sand around them seemed to vibrate, as if the very ground itself was responding to the reawakening of the Lishian technology. One by one, the devices began to hum with a low, mechanical thrum, and the team's instruments detected subtle fluctuations in the electromagnetic spectrum. The energy patterns that had once been dormant for thousands of years now surged, interacting with Earth's modern technological infrastructure. A frequency, unlike anything they had encountered before, seemed to be emerging from the artifacts, and it was too familiar to ignore. Dr. Ilana's mind raced. The quantum resonance that had been detected in the Lishian devices was no longer a mystery. It was spreading, slowly but surely, through Earth's modern systems. This was more than just coincidence. Patterns of quantum entanglement and neural interfaces began appearing in the team's data, revealing the deep connection between the alien technology and human progress. Her heart skipped a beat as the pieces of the puzzle fell into place. Quantum computing, one of the greatest breakthroughs of modern Earth technology, seemed to have parallels with the Lishian systems, principles that were now embedded in human infrastructure. The neural interface technology that had powered cutting-edge medical devices and brain-machine interfaces for decades was clearly linked to Lishian designs, yet humans had developed it independently, or so they thought. The further the team delved into the ancient site, the more they began to realize that Lishian technology wasn't just buried in the desert. It had been dispersed across the planet long before Earth's first civilizations had even taken shape. Artifacts, fragments of Lishian devices, were uncovered in ancient Chinese pottery, in South African caves, and even buried deep in the bogs of Ireland. They had seeded the Earth's most important milestones, leaving behind hints, triggers, to accelerate humanity's own technological evolution. Dr. Ilana Chen stood frozen, staring at the holographic projections of ancient devices now coming to life before her eyes. The lines of data streaming across her screen revealed something astonishing. The Lishians had planted the seeds of Earth's greatest discoveries. The silicon microchips that powered modern technology, the circuitry that ran through everything from computers to smart devices, and even the mathematical breakthroughs that spurred the quantum revolution. All of it, in some form, had been influenced by Lishian artifacts long before humans had even known they existed. It was as if humanity's technological leap was not a pure accident but the result of an alien hand, guiding them unknowingly towards the pinnacle of their capabilities. However, this revelation came with a heavy price. General Ramirez stood to the side, arms crossed, his face taut with concern. "What does this mean?" he muttered, his eyes scanning the data. "If these devices are somehow connected to our technology, then we have no idea what else might be influencing us. This isn't just a discovery, this could be a threat." His words echoed in the cold air of the dig site. The implications were enormous. If the Lishian technology had been so thoroughly integrated into Earth's systems, could it be used against them? Was humanity now vulnerable to alien manipulation, or had they inadvertently become a target? Dr. Ilana's hands trembled as she ran through the possibilities. The more they uncovered, the more it seemed like human history, its greatest achievements, might have been influenced by forces far beyond their understanding. What would happen if the Lishians decided that humanity's unanticipated use of their technology had become a risk to the galaxy? Her mind was clouded with the weight of this new reality, but one thing was certain: the future of Earth had just become far more complex and dangerous than any of them could have anticipated. The air within the Lishian research facility was thick with tension as the combined human and Lishian teams worked side by side, sifting through the ancient artifacts buried deep beneath the sands of Sudan. Every piece of technology they uncovered seemed to offer more questions than answers, and as the days passed, the discoveries grew more unsettling. The quantum entanglement present within the Lishian technology had far-reaching consequences, its effects subtly intertwining with Earth's modern infrastructure in ways no one had anticipated. Dr. Ilana Chen felt a deep unease settle in her chest as she studied the data. She had always been fascinated by quantum mechanics, but the more she examined the artifacts, the more she realized just how dangerous this technology could be. The Lishian devices were not only incredibly advanced but were now linked to Earth's most critical systems, power grids, communication networks, and even the emerging fields of quantum computing. The reality was chilling. The Lishian quantum resonance patterns embedded within these artifacts had created hidden pathways into Earth's infrastructure, offering an opportunity for interference that could destabilize entire nations. As the Lishian delegation convened with the human representatives, the gravity of the situation became painfully clear. In a closed-door meeting, Ambassador Zara's usual calm demeanor was replaced with an unmistakable edge of concern. Her six-fingered hands rested on the table, fingertips just touching the surface, as her luminous blue eyes scanned the faces of the humans in the room. "We have uncovered something disturbing," she began, her voice steady but laced with urgency. "Our technology was never meant to be adopted by a pre-spacefaring species. The quantum pathways that our devices created have inadvertently connected to your infrastructure. These hidden channels could potentially allow for interference or manipulation of your systems, and, by extension, your societies." General Ramirez, standing at the head of the table, immediately interjected. "We've already integrated parts of this technology into critical systems, defense, energy, communications. You're asking us to give it up? To simply disconnect from the very systems that have brought us to where we are today?" His tone was firm, but there was a flicker of concern in his eyes. The human delegation sat in tense silence, the weight of the situation pressing down on them. There was no easy answer. The Lishians, who had once observed humanity from afar, were now warning them of a hidden danger tied to the very technology that had propelled Earth into the future. "We understand your reluctance," Ambassador Zara said, her voice filled with a quiet, ancient wisdom. "But these technologies were never meant to be used by a species like yours, one so new, so unstable in terms of your technological development. We never anticipated the acceleration that has taken place in your species. Nuclear capabilities, global networks, and your burgeoning space programs, all of this has evolved far more quickly than any of us expected." Her gaze shifted to Commander TK, a Lishian security officer who had been silent until now. TK's tall, imposing figure seemed almost to vibrate with tension, his six-fingered hands clenched tightly at his sides. When he spoke, his voice was calm, but there was an unmistakable edge of warning in it. "Your species has achieved so much in such a short time," Commander TK said, his large, luminous eyes narrowing slightly. "And while your creativity and innovation are impressive, they also pose a danger. You've broken barriers in physics, developed advanced artificial intelligence, and now, you control the nuclear codes of your planet. Your global communication networks are vulnerable, and your increasing technological power could upset the balance of the galaxy. Your development is outpacing your control, and that is a serious concern for us." TK's voice was firm, and his words hung in the air like a sword poised over the room. Dr. Ilana couldn't help but feel the weight of those words. The rapid technological progress humanity had made was, in many ways, a blessing. But what if it had come at the cost of something much larger, something beyond Earth's control? We're not saying you must completely sever your ties with our technology, Ambassador Zara continued, her tone more measured now. But we propose a joint effort to locate all the Lishian artifacts scattered across Earth to ensure they are safely disentangled from your infrastructure. Only then can we proceed in a way that ensures the security of both of our civilizations. The room was filled with the murmur of voices, each person contemplating the proposal. There was no denying that the Lishians' technology had brought unimaginable benefits to humanity. But the realization that the very infrastructure Earth had built might be compromised, that the quantum pathways opened by the artifacts could give the Lishians, or anyone else with the knowledge, a way to access Earth's most critical systems, was a terrifying thought. The tension in the room was palpable as General Ramirez squared his shoulders and took a step forward. We understand the risks, but you're asking us to disconnect from the very systems that we've built our future on. These technologies are now part of who we are. We cannot just undo it. Ilana watched as Ambassador Zara's expression softened slightly, her eyes glowing more intensely as she spoke. We are not asking for complete disconnection, she said. We are asking for security, for control over something that was never meant to be in your hands. The artifacts must be safely secured before the quantum resonance they've triggered spreads even further. And before it's too late. Dr. Ilana's mind raced as she processed the weight of the conversation. Could the Lishians' concerns about humanity's accelerated development be justified? The line between progress and danger was razor-thin, and if the Lishian technology was left unchecked, it could lead to consequences far beyond anything humanity was prepared for. As the meeting continued, the room was filled with heated debate, each side unable to fully comprehend the other's perspective. But one thing was certain, the fate of both civilizations now depended on how they navigated the fine line between technological progress and potential catastrophe. The once tranquil atmosphere of the Joint Human-Lishian Research Facility now hummed with a constant, low vibration, a sign of impending chaos. For the past few weeks, Dr. Ilana Chen and the Lishian delegation had worked side by side, uncovering more about the quantum entanglement woven into the fabric of humanity's technological infrastructure. But now, the artifacts scattered across the Earth, those seemingly benign relics from another time, had begun to reactivate with alarming intensity. The Lishian resonance was rippling through the very core of Earth's systems. Power grids, once steady and reliable, began to flicker and surge, the surge of energy too much for even the most advanced systems to contain. As global energy networks began to overload, communication systems faltered, and cities across the world plunged into unpredictable blackouts. Artificial intelligence systems, deeply intertwined with Lishian technologies, started to behave erratically. There were reports of machines suddenly gaining self-awareness, of systems trying to communicate on their own, and the resonance patterns became more chaotic by the hour. Dr. Ilana Chen stood at the control console, watching as the monitors around her blinked and displayed intermittent feedback, crackling with static. It was clear now that humanity's reliance on Lishian technology had been underestimated. The foundational principles embedded in the alien devices had subtly shifted the course of human progress, accelerating the species into an age of unprecedented technological achievement. But now, it was clear that the technology wasn't just a gift, it was a double-edged sword. We need to act fast, or we'll lose control of everything, Ilana muttered under her breath, her heart racing. The Lishian resonance was spreading faster than anticipated, its effects reverberating throughout global networks, feeding off the intricate, quantum interconnections humans had unknowingly forged with Lishian artifacts. Just as panic seemed to settle in, a calm voice pierced the tension. It was Ambassador Zara, her 6 fingers resting lightly on the console beside Ilana. Her usual serene composure hid the profound worry in her glowing blue eyes. She had always seemed in control, but now the Lishians and humans both had to face a reality that neither side had predicted. We must stabilize the resonance patterns before it spreads further, Zara stated, her voice resolute. She turned toward her team of Lishian engineers who had worked with the humans over the past few weeks. Their glowing, elongated fingers moved with an almost supernatural precision, quickly initiating a counter-resonance signal in an effort to stabilize the flow of energy. Meanwhile, Dr. Ilana Chen worked alongside her human counterparts, adapting human quantum systems to synchronize with the Lishian resonance technology. The facility was flooded with soft blue and green light, the holographic displays flickering as they processed terabytes of quantum data. Attention filled the air as human and Lishian scientists worked in perfect synchronicity, adjusting the energy frequencies, and slowly, desperately, the chaos began to subside. It wasn't just about survival now. They weren't just trying to put out the fires of the current crisis, they were creating something new, something no one had ever thought possible, a quantum network that merged human and Lishian technology seamlessly. The systems, once isolated, were now intertwined, creating a new infrastructure that could sustain both civilizations for eons to come. The two species, once separated by unimaginable distances and cultural differences, now stood united in their shared creation. As the final energy surge dissipated and the global system slowly returned to normal, there was a moment of eerie calm. The monitors that had once flashed with warnings now showed stable readings, and the holographic images no longer flickered erratically. The Lishian and human teams exhaled in unison, a collective sigh of relief echoing through the facility. It was then that Ambassador Zara made her proposal, her voice steady but carrying the weight of history. "We have seen what your species can achieve," she began. "In the face of crisis, you adapted, you found a way to synchronize our technologies. You didn't just survive, you redefined what was possible. I believe we are at the threshold of something far more significant than we ever anticipated." Zara paused, allowing her words to settle before continuing. "Rather than extract our technology and return to our isolated paths, we propose a new partnership. A hybrid future, where humanity and the Lishians work together to accelerate the progress of both our civilizations. We will share knowledge, but more importantly, we will combine our strengths. Together, we can achieve more than we ever could alone." Dr. Ilana Chen felt a twinge of disbelief. What Ambassador Zara was proposing wasn't just a cooperative agreement. It was a revolution, a redefinition of what humanity and the Lishians could accomplish together. If they accepted, the future would not be defined by old limitations or the fear of alien interference. This was a future where both species would be equal partners in the cosmic tapestry. General Ramirez, standing beside Ilana, looked at the Lishian delegation, his stern face softening. This is our chance to evolve," he said quietly. "We've been handed a gift, but it's not just about what we can take. It's about what we can give. To each other." Ambassador Zara smiled slightly, the soft glow in her eyes reflecting the depth of her understanding. "Exactly. Humans have always been driven by ingenuity, by the drive to innovate and adapt. That is what makes you so special. Now, we will show you how our technologies can expand your reach, and how together we can rewrite the future." In the final moments, as the facility's lights dimmed and the hum of energy stabilizers faded into a quiet, rhythmic pulse, Dr. Ilana Chen stood in awe of what they had just accomplished. The crisis was over, but the true work had only just begun. She looked out over the facility, the team of humans and Lishians working together to lay the foundation for a new age. The future, once uncertain and filled with fear, was now a bright horizon, shaped by cooperation, shared knowledge, and the unbreakable will of two civilizations to face the unknown, not as rivals, but as equals. As the first new quantum signals began to connect across the hybrid network, Ilana smiled, knowing one thing for sure: humanity had not only survived, it had evolved. And now, together, they would change the course of history forever. As the alien visitors finally accept humanity's right to evolve, their shocking decision sends waves through the universe. But the story doesn't end here. The Valari ascendancy may have backed off, but the galaxy is far from safe. The Lishians' return was just the beginning of humanity's rise to power. This partnership could be the dawn of a new era, but what happens next? Will we be ready to face the ultimate challenges the universe has in store? Don't miss out. Hit subscribe now and stay tuned to HFY Sci-Fi Love and War Story for more jaw-dropping sci-fi revelations as humanity faces its greatest test yet. The future is just beginning, and you'll want to be here for every moment.